Hello everyone, this is part 9 of What If Naruto Was a Genius with Kyuubi Powers, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Orochimaru's alive. Tsunade yelled, standing up and tipping her chair. Sandaime scowled, he's getting harder to get rid of. He's alive. Kyuubi roared, how could he be alive? It was blood I drew from that body. From what I could gather, Tayuya began, he used a very powerful puppet jutsu, where instead of using chakra strings, it temporarily moved his soul into an identical puppet. ARG. Kyuubi yelled, wanting nothing more than the snake's head on a silver platter. However, Tayuya said, all of the damage you did to the puppet greatly weakened him. But he's had 4 years to strengthen himself. Naruto said. Well, there's a flip side to everything. Hinata said, 4 years of peace, 4 years of our enemy becoming stronger. Tsunade fell back into her chair and sighed. Very well, you are dismissed. I'll have some Anbu look into the recent activity of Otogakure. Very well, besides, we have to do some training. Naruto said, hinting at Tayuya. Why won't you pop? Tayuya said, screaming at the water balloon in her hand. It's not that hard, Tayuya. Hinata said, watching her. Easy for you to say. She said as she tried it again. The balloon refused to burst. Frustrated, she threw the balloon onto the ground, where it popped and splashed on the ground. Hinata pulled another one out the bucket next to the infuriated ninja. All you have to do is get the chakra rotating in enough directions. I know what I have to do. She screamed. The balloon still did not pop. She tried again, and again, and again. It was driving her mad. Finally she simply sat down, too infuriated to continue. Why won't it pop? Hinata cleared her tea, are you ready to listen to my advice? Tayuya grumbled something that sounded like a yes. If you need a jump start for popping these, try using your other hand to start the multiple rotations. Tayuya let the words process and picked up the balloon, like this. She asked as she moved her free hand around the balloon. Suddenly, it burst in her hand. Hinata smiled, yes, like that. Naruto then entered, coming back from the library of jutsus, so, how's it going? She was able to pop the balloon. With the help of her free hand or not? With, well, it will do for now, but soon, I'll want you to be able to do it one-handed. Fine, I'll accomplish that later, now what? Tayuya said. Now you can take a break. Oh, thank heavens, she said as she fell onto a nearby bench. We also brought lunch, Naruto said, as 3 shadow clones made their way in, each carrying a bowl of ramen. Don't you have anything else to eat in this house? Tayuya complained. It's all he eats, Hinata said, don't worry, it's not the worst food, and it's easy to learn to love. I personally don't know what you guys have against it, Naruto said, slurping down the noodles, it is truly the food of the gods. Yes, I know it is, Hinata said. Naruto was about to say something when he remembered a question he had earlier that day. Oh, Tayuya, I've been meaning to ask you, what was your big change that you decided on? Well, I decided to finally listen to Jirabu's advice, I gonna stop cursing my guts out. That's great news, Hinata said. That reminds me, Naruto said, I have a gift for you. Another shadow clone entered the room, carrying a gift-wrapped package. For you, he said, handing it to Tayuya before puffing out of existence. Tayuya began unwrapping it and stopped when a black case was revealed. Keep going, Naruto smiled. She found the 2 clasps on the box and carefully undid them. Her trembling hand lifted the lid to reveal a long slender flute. I figured that you are most proficient when you play one of these, and I owe it to you. Tayuya was speechless. In one day, her life had gone from looking up to see rock bottom, to living on top of the world. I also took the liberty of picking out a new wardrobe for you, I'm sure that Oto uniform holds enough bad memories. They'll be in your room, 2nd floor, 3rd room down the hall on your right. I think you'll like the selection. Tayuya came down the stairs, into the training basement, where Hinata and Naruto were eagerly awaiting to see how she looked in her new clothes. She had picked a black and red shirt with a swirl emblem on its front, with black shorts that came to just below her knees. She also wore black braces, reinforced with steel, which came up to the back of her palm, and was connected by ring-like holes for her fingers to slip through, and black shinobi sandals. After a minute of uncomfortable silence, Tayuya asked, "Does it look okay?" "Are you kidding?" Naruto said, "I've only seen one person more beautiful, and she's sitting right here." He pointed to Hinata. It was true, she was rather stunning in her new outfit, and it was also functional. "The red really complements your hair," Hinata said, as she looked the girl over. "Thank you," Tayuya said, but before she could say anything else, however, a rubber ball was thrown at her. "Part 2 of you training, break the ball," Naruto said. "As I have said before, the Rasengan is my team's signature S-rank move. You are going to be the one to break the record for learning it the fastest." "Understood." Tayuya began. "Good. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to see a biju who wants to break something." Kyuubi couldn't possibly be in a sourer mood. He had actually begun to feel good about himself when he found out that slimy, backspin, snake was still alive. He had half a mind to release one of those prisoners, just so he could send a message, and the other half wasn't disagreeing. The only thing that kept him from marching up to the Hokage's tower was a voice in his head that told him it was wrong. He grumbled. He needed to case something. Not too far from where he walked, Naruto was talking to a seemingly young, beautiful woman. "Look, Jasmine, I need you to talk to him. He wants to case someone right now, and I need him to keep his mind off of learning that Orochimaru is alive." "Why do I have to help him?" "Because you're the best candidate," he said, moving behind her. "You, of all the kitsune, are the closest to him. Besides, how many other beautiful kitsune could possibly make him smile?" Remembering what had happened back on Hokage Mountain a couple of nights ago, Jasmine wasn't sure she was the best candidate. I don't think. "Nonsense, you'll do fine, now get out there." Naruto gently pushed her into the street, and unknowingly pushed her into Kyuubi. She looked up into his dark red eyes as Kyuubi was shocked at her sudden appearance. "We're so close," Jasmine thought, and then she blushed and quickly backed up. "Sorry." Jasmine. "Yes. What are you doing here?" Quickly, Jasmine pieced together a lie about how Naruto accidentally summoned her for a job. "I was willing to help, until I learned that all he needed was some shopping done. But here I am, what we're reduced to." Kyuubi smiled. "You do know that the market is on the other side of town, right?" Jasmine mentally cursed. "Naruto sent you be with me, didn't he?" "Yes," she hesitantly replied. "Fine, I could use some company." They walked in an awkward silence for a couple of moments before Kyuubi started. "Yeah, Jasmine. Yes, about what I said the other night, I was a jerk. No, it was my fault. You just wanted to be alone, I understand that." "Yes, but I did something I shouldn't have done. I reduced the death of your family to a sob story. If anyone did that to my family's death, I would kill him." Jasmine saw his regret in his eyes and decided to move on to a more comedic conversation. "Didn't you call your family's death a sob story?" "Who? You said something like, 'Why would I need to hear your sob story? I have one of my own. You're not going to kill yourself, are you?" she said, smiling. Kyuubi caught on. "Maybe, I'll have to catch myself first." "Oh hey, what do you know, that was easier than I thought." Jasmine laughed, and it was a beautiful laugh. To anyone's ears it sounded like the most beautiful music. Kyuubi loved that laugh, it reminded him of Kajan's. They continued on their way through the town, Kyuubi slowly forgetting that he had any problems at all. A month later, Tayuya could finally summon a Rasengan with one hand, however it was taxing, so Naruto told her to keep practicing until she felt like she could do it with no difficulty. Now she stood in Naruto's basement for a final evaluation of her skills. Hinata and Kyuubi were also watching Tayuya's exam. "Excellent," Naruto said as a critical eye looked over the perfect blue sphere of chakra. "Now, what other jutsus do you have?" "I have some genjutsus and a summoning jutsu where I control the summons with my flute." "Well, let's see them." Tayuya played a melody and suddenly there was a puff of smoke behind her. When she turned to see them, her mouth hung open. They were as tall as she was, maybe a little taller, they all had a golden sash at their waist, they were all well muscled, and they all had shining blue eyes. One had a glimmering sword at his side, another carried a silver mace, which seemed to be comprised of angel wings, and the third one had his hands in two golden tiger claws. Upon seeing their master, they bowed low and said in unison, "Lady Tayuya, how may we serve you?" Tayuya looked at them with wide eyes and open mouth. I know you. Should there be a reason that you do not know us? The one with the sword said. I know you, but I don't know you, she said, ignoring the summons's words. What do you mean? The one with the tiger claws asked. I know who you are, and what you do, but I can almost guarantee that I've never seen you guys in my life. The summons looked heartbroken, and their faces multiplied her pity for them. But, I feel like you belong with me. I think I know what's going on. Naruto said as he stood up. The seal of the clouds, in order to discourage the wearer from trying to remove it in its early stages, it corrupts and changes the wearer's memories so that his out or life will seem worse than it was before the seal. Naruto walked over to the summons. I theorize that these are your original summonings, while what you have been using are corrupted versions of them. Is that why I feel like I know them, because I do know them? That's my guess, Naruto said. I guess it'll suffice for now. Tayuya said, shrugging her confusion off. For now, well, I suppose introductions are in order. Naruto, Hinata, Kyuubi, I'd like you to meet the Tenshi, Angel, brothers, Giri, Shin, and Kugi, Honor, Truth, and Justice. The introductions were made, and then Tayuya dismissed them. Then she played some other melos, each one Naruto found himself either in bliss or pain. When she finished, Naruto was slightly disappointed. Alright, we have to teach you some more serious jutsus, but be warned, tomorrow, you are going to go through some of the most grueling training of your life. Tayuya flopped down on her bed. Her first day of training had been tea that was beyond anything she had experienced in Konoha. Flashback. 99-100. Good. Take a break. Naruto said, as he stood over the exhausted form of Tayuya. It was her fifth set of 100 push-ups. She rolled over, so she could try to get up. When she did, Naruto came back. Now I want 800 laps. Around the field. Tayuya groaned. No. Around Konoha. Flashback end. Tayuya silently cursed the buffoon who had inspired the physical labor Naruto dared called a workout. Somewhere in Konoha, Guy sneezed. Yosh. I will have the words spoken about me be about my flames of youth. I will run 3,000 laps around Konoha. After a month of Naruto's abuse, he began to let off and teach her the Kyuubi. She was a natural. Any training dummy put before her was shredded by the chakra she laced her punches with. Very good, Naruto said, as she went through another hey person. Thank you, I do try. Tayuya said. Naruto smiled, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Naruto cried, and Tayuya suddenly found herself fighting Naruto's instead of training dummies. She was able to take a good number before Naruto was able to subdue her. Good job, Naruto said, reaching his down to pick her up. You should be able to take on any Chunin who would dare lay a hand on you. Well, it's good to know I can take care of myself. Tayuya said. Team Fox walked into Tsunade's office, where Kiba's jaw crashed to the ground after getting a look at Tayuya. Well, hello there, my name's Kiba, and yours? Tayuya gave him one look. None of your business, flea boy. Naruto laughed. Tsunade sighed. Why couldn't Naruto pick normal people, instead of loudmouth clones? Before another fight breaks out, Tsunade began, I have a mission for you. Team 8, you are dismissed. Team 8 left, with Kiba nursing his bruised ego. We have gotten word of some Oto activity in the nearby forests, and we want you to make sure that ends. Not a problem, Naruto said. Team Fox was quietly slipping through the forest near Konoha. Naruto's ears were twitching at every sound. Hinata's Byakugan was active, Kyuubi was sniffing the air occasionally, and Tayuya and the Tenshi brothers were ready to strike at a moment's notice. Suddenly Naruto froze. Everyone else followed his example. He looked to Hinata, who increased her vision range. She then held up 3 fingers on her left hand and 4 on her right. Kyuubi carefully slid over TP Tayuya and explained, 4 teams of 3. He whispered. Naruto slowly pulled out a 3-pronged kunai, and gave a foxy smile. He held up his hand and began to count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Sound Nins were enjoying the rest of the day they had, and were about to call for dinner when out of nowhere, a kunai hit the trunk of a tree. Suddenly, there was a flash of yellow light, and there stood someone they had been told to avoid whenever possible. Boo! The camp went into chaos. One unluckily prepared Chunin suddenly attacked Naruto, only for a chakra-laced punch to hit him in the chest and cause his heart to explode. Suddenly, another ninja they were told to flee from appeared, her Byakugan seeing everything in the whole camp. She was joined by the feared Kyuubi, holding a sword made of pure chakra, and laughing maniacally, "I want blood. Ha. As if that weren't enough, 3 buff, angelic warriors, jumped from the trees, and began attacking with gold and silver weapons. Hinata disabled 3, hitting their legs till they went numb, then their other limbs were forfeit. Kyuubi took out his 3 almost nonchalantly. The Tenchi brothers also made quick work of their foes, and Kugi administered quick justice on them with his sword. Naruto was able to take the last 2 alive. When they were finished, they tied the survivors together, and Naruto began his interrogation. "Can you go tell Tayuya it's okay to come out now?" he asked Hinata, who nodded before Naruto threw a sadistic smile at his captives. "Now, I'm going to see if there are any smart ones among you, answer my question right, and I'll go easy on you." "What are you doing here?" One major idiot sat up and cried, "We'll never tell you." Naruto looked at him, and then turned to Kyuubi, "You can eat that one." Kyuubi looked at him for a couple of seconds. The man had a smug grin on his face, almost knowing that no man would eat him. It was apparent that he did not have the latest edition of the bingo book, or he would know that Kyuubi was no human. Kyuubi took his chakra sword, rammed his next meal in the heart, and dragged him over to the center of the clearing where he lit it on fire. "Now, unless someone wants to become seconds, you'll tell me what I want to know," Naruto said. No one took him seriously until they saw Kyuubi bite into a disembossed arm. Naruto was about to be bombarded with answers when another ninja said, "Go ahead, feed us to your demon. We won't tell you anything." Their resolve strengthened, the ninjas sat quiet. Naruto looked at the man who had spoken up, and punched him in his goods. The man began screaming at the top of his lungs and his voice was 5 octaves higher. When he finally settled, Naruto spoke up, "If you think he's overdoing it, I did make his balls explode." One of the 3 remaining candidates fainted. "This is going to be fun," Naruto said. Naruto and his team walked into the Hokage's office, dragging a half-crazed Oto Nin. "This guy will tell you all you need to know," Naruto said. "Ponies," the Oto Nin said. "As soon as you knock some sense into him." Tsunade's eyebrow rose. "Don't ask," Naruto said. "So you only brought back 1 prisoner?" "Yes. You only left 1 alive." "No. It's my happy place," the Oto Nin mumbled. "Well, where is the other one?" "Well, you see, Kyuubi has been pretty furious at Orochimaru and decided to send him a message." Otogakure, the Otokage, as he named himself, was sitting in his office when a knock came at the door. "Come in," he said in a raspy voice. "Ah, sir, we have a report from the scouting party in Konoha." "What is it?" One of the ninjas returned. "Sir, he has a message for you." Another ninja came in, bragging a piece of F that was curled in the fetal position. The mass of F kept mumbling, "So much hate, so much hate." The Otokage moved to get a good look at the ninja. On his head the letter NN and K were written, placed there by a sharp kunai. The Kage knelt down, and looked into the nin's eyes. "What happened?" The ninja looked at him, as if noticing him for the first time. Then he began to laugh. "They're coming for you. Ha ha, the fox and the flash are coming for you. Ha ha ha." "Who?" "The Nine Tails, and his master." The Otokage suddenly became very serious. He turned to the ninja closet to him. Him. On the other side of the world, Itachi was suppressing a headache. "So what are we going to do now, Itachi-san?" Itachi was tempted to bash him over the head with a shovel. The only things that kept him from doing that, however, were the lack of a shovel, and the Sharingan that Toby had shown him. "We're chasing a Jinchuriki that fled to the wave country. Do you think we'll catch it, Itachi-san?" "No." "Why not?" "Because there are some spies watching us, and they just left to tell Konoha to send someone." Toby seemed to quiet down a bit. Well, should we do something about it?" "No. Alright." They walked in silence for a while. "Who do you think they'll send, Itachi-san?" "Team Fox." More silence. Itachi looked over to Toby, who seemed lost in his thoughts. Itachi found this both relieving and frightening at the same time. Team Fox entered into the Hokage's office, ready for whatever mission awaited them. Tsunade met them with a grim nod. Team Fox, I have a mission of the utmost importance for you. Need us to clean your garage again? Naruto asked. Tsunade glared at him. When the laughs SD down, she continued, I have just received word that Akatsuki is heading for Wave. The team got more serious. Do we have any idea who is in the team? Yes, one of them is Itachi, the other is of unknown skill and power, his name is Toby. I want them both brought back alive. Yes, ma'am. However, I have one request. What is it? Can Team 7 accompany us? Tsunade looked at him. You're requesting help from another team. I never thought I'd see the day. She mumbled before continuing. Alright, I will inform them. Naruto, you'll be the leader. You have 1 hour to pack your things, then meet at the gate. Get to Wave as soon as possible. Yes, ma'am, they said before they disappeared in smoke. Team Fox stood at Konoha's gates, waiting on Team 7. Kakashi, seeing how this involved Akatsuki, decided to ignore Obito protocol and be on time for once. Sakura took a little bit of waiting, seeing as how this was an important mission, she had to make doubly sure she had everything she needed, medical supplies, extra kunai, storage scrolls filled to the brink with weapons, etc. Sai was there, smiling a genuine smile. When asked about it, he said he was in love, which earned a round of applause from the rest. Sasuke arrived last, a scowl painted on his face. Naruto made a note to keep reminding him that they need to bring them back alive. Alright, you guys ready? Naruto asked. They mumbled. I'll take that as a yes, let's go. He said, biting his thumb, Kuchio's no jutsu. He cried, slamming his palm on the dirt. As the smoke cleared, before them stood 4 7-tailed foxes, each one was a little bigger than a horse. Alright, Kyuubi, go with Tayuya, Hinata, you're with me. Kakashi, you go with Sai, Sakura, you and Sasuke take the last fox. Any questions? Sasuke began. Good, let's go. Naruto yelled before jumping on one of the fox's back, quickly followed by Hinata. Kyuubi jumped on Anther Fox and Tayuya followed his example. Kakashi shrugged and grabbed Sai and jumped on a third fox. While Sakura and Sasuke looked slight unsure about it, the fourth fox was able to get underneath them. Suddenly Naruto's fox reared up and howled, while Naruto and Hinata hung on. Let's get to Wave and catch some criminals. Naruto yelled. And they were off. Itachi frowned. They were having too much success. They needed to able to let this guy go. The problem was he was so weak that it couldn't be convincing. The Jinchuriki in question was the container of the Rokubi, a 6-tailed shark, and he was the saddest thing Itachi had ever seen. He knew 3 jutsu, he stunk at taijutsu and his ninjutsu was worse, he didn't know any genjutsu, but if he did, Itachi would be willing to bet he would stink at that too. They were chasing the vessel down the Great Naruto Bridge, and the Jinchuriki, who despite his horrid ninja skills, was very fast. You'll never catch me alive, Akatsuki. A mellow voice sounded from the boy's lips. Please don't threaten to K yourself, we have too many of those. Itachi thought grimly. Please don't Rokubi's vessel-san, we need you alive so we can take over the world. Toby cried. Rokubi's vessel turned and gave Toby a look, he then turned to Itachi, is this guy for real? Itachi sighed, that's a question I don't even want to answer. The Jinchuriki stood on the edge of the bridge. Go away, he yelled. Please come with us, Jinchuriki-san, we promise to only knock you out. Toby pleaded. Again all he got was a look. Itachi approached. Stay back, the vessel cried, a blue-gray chakra leaking from him. We promise we won't hurt you. Itachi said. I know you won't, the vessel said, the chakra taking the form of a shark's tail. He quickly turned and jumped into the water. Itachi ran to the edge of the bridge, just in time to see Rokubi's vessel swim across the waters at high speeds. Itachi cursed, while mentally he was thanking heaven for the save. Itachi turned away and was about to leave when he saw 4 horse-sized foxes. And where do you think you're going? Naruto asked from one of the foxes' backs. Is this Team Fox, Itachi? Toby asked, no longer acting polite. Yes it is. Then should we run? No, Toby, we'll fight. Very well, Itachi-san. Itachi slipped into a taijutsu stance, while Toby seemed to start hand signs. Kaiten, Gukakyu no Jutsu. Toby yelled, pulling his mask just above his mouth so that the flames would pass unhindered. Hinata jumped off the fox, Suten, Suijin Heki. She said before spitting a jet of water from her mouth, which met the fireball head-on. Kakashi, you and Team 7 take the guy with the orange mask, Team Fox, we take Itachi. Naruto said. Naruto, let me take Itachi. Sasuke yelled. No Sasuke, we need to make sure they get back alive. I need to be sure he won't be ked. But, no buts, Sasuke, just leave Itachi to us. Sasuke took one look at Itachi, sighed, and then turned to fight Toby. Hinata was launching jutsu after jutsu against Itachi, who dodged each jutsu as they came at him. Suten, Suigarden. Hinata yelled as 4 water drills came from underneath the bridge to hit their target. Itachi nimbly dodged, as the raging torrents flew past him. When suddenly, Kyuubi came at him with a sword of chakra and SD down at his arm. Itachi barely made it with his hand. Hinata came at him again, attacking in the Kyuubikan, when suddenly, 3 angel warriors attacked from behind. He was able to keep them at bay with the aid of his Sharingan. He then began some hand signs, Kaiten, Hausenka no Jutsu. He said as he shot 7 fireballs from his mouth. Hinata acted for defense, Suten, Mizurappa. She yelled before launching a strong stream of water towards the fireballs. He was about to counterattack, when Kyuubi was suddenly in front of him, attacking with Kyuubikan punches. Itachi was able to dodge with the aid of his Sharingan. When suddenly he found one of the angel warriors attack him with a huge mace. He nimbly dodged out of the way, only to get in the way of another angel warrior, who tried to take his head off with a sword of light. Suddenly something hit his back, and he felt so miserably weak. He turned just in time to see Naruto, holding seal paper and an ink brush in his hand. Sorry I had to use a cheap shot, but then again, I do need you to be alive when we get back to Konoha. Itachi then did something he had not done in years, he smiled. Then, he passed out. Toby was fast. Seriously fast. As Sai came at him with an ink sword, Toby simply grabbed Sai's wrist, and pulled him into a charging Sakura. Sasuke was next up to bat, and was able to S at him with a kunai before Toby blew him back a good 6 feet with the Futen, Daitopper. Kakashi, however, was having a reoccurring sense of deja vu. He began the hand signs for the Suten, Daibakufu no Jutsu when Toby beat him to it with one of his own, Doten, Doryuden. He lifted his mask and began spitting a long line of mud, which quickly took the shape of a dragon, which began spitting out mud balls with increasing speed. Kakashi quickly dodged, using his Sharingan to aid him, and began another jutsu. Kaiten, Hausenka no Jutsu. He cried spitting fireballs. Doten, Doryu Heki. Toby cried, lifting his mask again to spit out a trail of mud, which suddenly erupted into a rock wall. Sasuke, now. Kakashi yelled, preparing a Reikiri. Sasuke quickly prepared a Chindori. Kakashi rammed his lightning-covered fist into the rock wall, which caused it to explode into 1,000 shards, while Sasuke came behind him, about to plunge his attack into the masked Atatsuki member, but suddenly, Sasuke released it so instead of cutting Toby in half, the electricity of the Chindori fanned out and electrocuted Sasuke's opponent unconscious. Nice job, guys, Naruto said as he came over with a seal in his hand. He slapped it onto the man's back. Now I'm going to see if we can borrow a boat. Why do we need a boat? Sasuke asked. Naruto smiled, you'll see. Thanks for letting us use your boat, Tazuna. Naruto said to old man who was rowing the boat. Are you kidding? If you needed my house I would have lent it to you. We owe you guys so much. Naruto smiled, and then turned to the gathered teams. If you're wondering what we're doing here, you guys are about to hear an S-class secret. He instantly got everyone's undivided attention. But I'm not going to tell it to you. Now he really had their attention. Naruto smiled and began to shake the unconscious form of Itachi. Hey, Weasel-san, wake up. Naruto was rewarded with Itachi mumbling, 5 more minutes, Mom, I have to join Atatsuki today. Naruto held up a finger, signaling his Orzens to wait, and then he slapped Itachi across the face. Itachi sat up, fully awake. Well, almost. What's happening? Is the hideout caving in? Is Sasuke here? Then he began to take his surroundings into consideration. Oh, thank heavens, I'm no longer a part of that cursed organization. Thank you for coming to Reality Weasel-san. Well, it's better than being asleep. Hang on, Sasuke interjected. Why are you suddenly buddy-buddy with the man that killed my entire clan, and the man who ruined my life? Itachi sighed. He had no idea how to answer that question. He looked up at Naruto. What do I tell him? The truth, Weasel-san, the truth. Itachi's heart dropped when he heard that. How was he going to believe the truth? Him of all people. He put his head in his hands and mumbled something. Come on, Itachi, it wasn't far-fetched enough for me to think you were lying. I didn't want to do it, he said, hanging his head. Do what? Sasuke asked. What do you think? Itachi asked angrily, a small tear in his eye. Do you honestly believe I wanted to kill Mom, or Dad, or even Shisui for that matter? Sasuke blinked. Of course you do. I played my part far too well for anyone to guess my real motives. Kakashi looked at him. What do you mean? Is it really that hard to figure out, Kakashi? Itachi asked him. Well then maybe this will reveal something. He reached to his back and pulled off the chakra suppression seal on him. Kai. He cried, when a puff of smoke appeared on his headband. When the smoke cleared, it revealed the Hitai 8 on his forehead to be not slashed, but completely whole and polished. He looked at the surprised faces and decided to explain. I had a mission. Konoha had sent a spy into Atatsuki years earlier, but when he hadn't heard from him after 4 years, we suspected something was wrong, so Sandaime-sama gave me a special mission. I had to infiltrate Atatsuki, and become one of them. I knew, in order to do this, I had to become more powerful. So I began to look for something to improve my strength. That's when I stumbled onto the Mangekyo. A tear fell from Itachi's eye. Shisui was also a possible candidate for the Atatsuki spy, and when he heard about the Mangekyo, he knew that's what I would need, so he encouraged me to kill him. I refused to do it, and continued searching. More tears fell, and Itachi began choking on his words. One night, as I was doing my research, I fell asleep. I still don't know what happened, but, when I woke up, I found my Anbu katana in his chest. He smiled at me and said, it's for Konoha. I still remember the look on his face, a look of victory mixed with pain. I didn't know what to do. He had set up everything, the S-note, the SS on his wrist, everything. I ran back to the library, and as soon as I saw the Mangekyo scroll I found there were 2 ways to activate it, one of them required no deaths. That's when he simply broke down. That old fool didn't have to S. He yelled between tears. Naruto picked up the story. Afterwards, Itachi found the leader of the Atatsuki and managed to get in. However, there was one thing standing in his way. Initiation. He had to kill his entire clan. Itachi was able to bargain the life of his immediate family, but he didn't know that someone had joined him on his little TS. Madara. Itachi hissed, his voice full of malice and hate for that name. Yes, Madara Uchiha followed Itachi, and using a genjutsu, attacked his mother and father under the guise of Itachi. That's when you, Sasuke, met Madara. Everyone looked at Sasuke, who took everything as almost surreal. Madara told you to hate him, to despise him, to use your hatred as fuel to become stronger. He TD you with the Tsukuyomi. He did it all, while Itachi was asking forgiveness to everyone he killed, being sure to make it as painless as possible. It was then that Itachi stood up, the whites of his eyes red from the tears that he had held back for years. Sasuke-ni-san. Sasuke looked at him, confusion in his eyes. I want you to understand this. I'm not asking you to forgive me, but please understand, I never wanted any pain to come to you. I wanted you to live with Mom and Dad. I wanted you to grow up, knowing what too much power could do to you. I wanted you to grow up becoming a ninja of the greatest degree, and loyal to Konoha, no matter what it asked of you. Sasuke looked up at the man he had hated, and didn't know what to think of him. He still cared his clan, but it was for a mission, and he regretted it. He could see it in his black eyes. Sasuke didn't know what to do, him in the heart with a kunai, or comfort his brother. Why? He asked, why did you go through with it? Because, Sasuke, as a friend of mine once said, those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their friends are less than trash. The only friends I had left were you, Naruto and the village. Kakashi's eye teared up. The kid actually listened to me. It was at that moment that Toby spoke up. Who told you that, Itachi-san? Itachi turned to the masked man. Why do you care? Toby smiled behind his mask, and lifted it off his face to reveal one black eye, while the left one was covered by a Konoha headband, because that's my line. Kakashi's one eye went very wide. Oh Obito. You didn't actually think that a boulder would do me in, did you, Kakashi? Bu. What's the matter, copycat, got your tongue? Obito said before laughing. I can't believe it. Kakashi managed to say. Well, what can I say? Being an Akatsuki spy for Konoha isn't easy, is it, Itachi? Itachi's mouth was wide open, another loyal Uchiha, that close to him, and a spy for Konoha. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm getting rid of this cloak, the fabric chafes. He unzipped his Akatsuki coat, revealing a black suit of Anbu armor, and he threw it off the boat, Kaiten, Gukakyu no Jutsu. He watched the coat turn to ashes, before turning to the stunned members of the boat. You have no idea how good that feels. The rest of the trip was filled with questions, like how did Naruto know about Itachi, how did Obito survive, and while they answered them readily, Itachi was disturbed by his brother's silence. Obito noticed this and took his shoulder. Give him time, Itachi-ni-san, he needs to sort things out. Itachi nodded before turning to Obito. Ni-san. Sure, why not? After all, there are only 4 of us Uchiha left, and personally, I hate Madara, so it only seems fitting that I join your family. Itachi turned to his brother one more time. I'm not sure my family is going to last much longer. Obito frowned. Hey, stop thinking about it, you asked for forgiveness, you've done your part, it's his turn now, leave that way. Itachi nodded silently. When Kakashi came up to him, so you were Naruto's bodyguard and used Tsukuyomi to send him a farewell message and you told him you'd do your best to protect him, and explained everything that happened to him right before you left. Yes, Itachi answered, I was glad Naruto believed me too, or that would have been an absolute waste of my vision. Speaking of vision, Obito began, what is the other way to gain the Mangekyo? Itachi looked at him and said, a selfless act of grace and mercy. Sasuke walked in the back, contemplating what he should do. Itachi seemed truly sorry, but that didn't change the fact that the blood of his family was on his hands. Do you honestly believe I wanted to kill Mom, or Dad, or even Shisui for that matter? The words seemed to hold a fraction of the guilt that hung over his head. The story that Naruto and Itachi had woven together seemed true, what's more, it seemed logical. It was then that the words of the Rokudaime Hokage had said to him when his seal had been removed, choose wisely, dear boy. One fate can change another, and then another. I will not say to give up on your ambition, but do not let it ruin your life, it is too much of a precious thing to waste. One fate can change another. What did he mean? As Sasuke thought about it, it slowly began to make sense. If he had tried to kill Itachi there, he would have never learned that Itachi never meant to actually hurt him. That still doesn't excuse him for doing what he had to for Connor, even though it wasn't asked of him. Are you sure about that? Of course I am. Well, what would have you done? Not that. Really? Yes. So that's what the old Sasuke would have done. His conscience said, playing his ace card. He sighed. All right, I'll forgive him. He caught up with his brother, who, like Obito, had ditched the Akatsuki cloak. Sasuke sighed before continuing, Itachi. Yes, Sasuke-ni-san. Itachi said, looking at him, pain still filled his onyx eyes. I forgive you. Really? Itachi asked. Surprise was evident in his pain-filled eyes. Really? Suddenly, pain exploded behind his eyes. Ah! Sasuke! Itachi cried, alarmed by his brother's pain. Ahhhhh! He cried, falling to the ground, clutching his head with his hands. Sasuke! Itachi yelled. Suddenly, the team seemed to jump into action, running to the Uchiha, ready to use whatever medical skills they had to help. But before they could do anything, it was over. Sasuke lay still and groaned. Sasuke-ni-san. Itachi asked, pulling his brother into a sitting position. Oh, what happened? Sasuke asked, lowering his hands. Itachi's mouth dropped, followed quickly by Obito's and Kakashi's. What? I can't believe it. Itachi stammered. Naruto began laughing. Well, as I always say, believe it. What? Sasuke asked confused. Hinata reached into her bag and pulled out a small mirror. Here, let this explain. She said, tossing it to him. He caught it and looked at his reflection. He blinked. Twice. His eyes were two red orbs, surrounded by black, creating an atom-like shape that was centered around his pupil. He opened his mouth, and then closed it. He looked up at the mirror, to see Itachi's smiling face. You did it, Sasuke. You activated the Mangekyo Sharingan, the right way. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.